Every decision we make shapes us. Some lead to victories that we celebrate and remember forever. Others end in disappointment, confusion, or regret. But no matter the outcome, every single choice teaches something. Life isn't a straight road paved with perfect calls and flawless steps. It's a winding path built on lessons, some learned the easy way, but most carved out through trial, error, and pain. That's the truth people often don't want to face. The idea that even the decisions that hurt you, the ones you wish you could take back, were necessary for the person you're becoming. The reality is, we grow more from discomfort than comfort. You rarely evolve when everything is going right. You grow when you fall, when you lose, when you misjudge a situation, or put your trust in the wrong person. Those moments, the ones that sting, force you to confront things about yourself. They expose the gaps in your thinking, the wounds you haven't healed, the fears you've been running from. And as painful as that is, it's also a gift, because it gives you clarity. It gives you wisdom. It gives you the kind of insight you can't get from success alone. Sometimes people look back at their lives and feel ashamed of past decisions. They carry that shame around like a weight, believing that one bad choice defines them. But it doesn't, it never has. What defines you is what you do with what you've learned. If you've made mistakes, that just means you've lived, you've tried, you've risked, and that's more than a lot of people can say. Regret only has power when you let it stop you. But if you face it, own it, and grow from it, it becomes your strength. It becomes part of your foundation. Even the best decisions aren't always easy. Choosing to walk away from a toxic situation, choosing to take the harder path, choosing to believe in yourself when no one else does, those are tough calls. And sometimes the reward isn't instant. You might not see the result for weeks, months, even years. But that doesn't mean it wasn't the right decision. The value of a choice isn't always in its immediate return. Sometimes the value is in what it builds inside you: discipline, resilience, self-respect. The key is to stop judging your decisions only by how they made you feel in the moment. Some of the best choices will hurt at first. They'll stretch you, they'll challenge your identity, but they will also shape your future. And some of the worst decisions will feel good in the short term. They'll feed your ego, your comfort, your pride, but they'll cost you later. That's why maturity isn't just about making the right choice. It's about understanding the long game. It's about having the patience to let your decisions bear fruit over time. There's something powerful about being able to say, I chose this path and I own it, not because it was perfect, but because it was yours. Ownership is where growth begins. When you stop blaming others, when you stop pretending it just happened to you, and instead say, I made that call and here's what I learned, that's when you start building something real. That's when your story gains depth, because people don't connect to perfection. They connect to struggle, to honesty, to the strength it takes to keep going when you could have given up. Decisions shape your identity, but they don't lock you in. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to change your mind when you gain new understanding. Growth means giving yourself the grace to be wrong and the courage to do better next time. It's about using every decision as a mirror and a compass. Look at who you were and let it guide you toward who you're becoming. That's the beauty of life. It's constantly offering you new chances to choose differently, to choose wiser, to choose stronger. Falling is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you tried. It means you stepped out, you acted, you moved. And anytime you move, there's a chance you might stumble. That's part of the deal. There's no progress without risk, no growth without exposure. But the world doesn't teach us how to fall. It teaches us how to hide it, how to pretend it didn't happen, or worse, how to be ashamed of it. But failure, falling, breaking down, it's all part of the journey. It's not the fall that defines you. It's the response. It's what happens when the dust settles and the silence kicks in. Do you lie there or do you rise? Rising isn't easy. It hurts. You feel everything in that moment: disappointment, confusion, fear, maybe even embarrassment. You start questioning your worth, your ability, your direction. But that pain isn't there to destroy you. It's there to remind you that you're still alive, still capable, still in the fight. The pain is a signal. It tells you this mattered. And anything that matters is worth standing back up for. Because grit isn't proven when things are going well. It's proven when everything falls apart. And you keep going anyway. You can't fake resilience. You can't talk your way into it. You earn it. You build it in the trenches, one setback at a time. Every time life knocks you down and you pull yourself up, you're building something inside that can't be taught, only lived. And the more you rise, the more you realize that your power isn't in never falling. It's in your ability to refuse defeat. Not because it's easy, not because you have all the answers, but because something in you won't let you stay broken. We live in a world that glorifies success but ignores the struggle behind it. People post their victories, their highlight reels, their triumphs. But what you don't see is the countless times they fell, the nights they doubted themselves, the mornings they didn't want to get up. Rising is often a quiet act. Nobody claps for the moment you decide to try again. There's no applause when you choose healing over bitterness, faith over fear. But those are the decisions that build a life, the ones that happen in private, in silence, with no guarantee of reward, except the knowledge that you didn't give up. To rise with fire means you come back with purpose. You don't just return, you return stronger, wiser, sharper. Because every fall taught you something. Maybe it showed you your limits. Maybe it revealed who's truly in your corner. Maybe it forced you to confront parts of yourself you'd been avoiding. Whatever it did, if you're willing to learn from it, it will not be wasted. The fire comes from that transformation, from taking the pain and turning it into fuel, from saying, this tried to break me, but I'm still here. There is power in deciding that you are more than what happened to you. That no fall, no mistake, no loss will have the final word on your life. Because when you rise after falling, you're not just proving something to the world. You're proving something to yourself, that you're worthy, that you're capable, that you're built for more than comfort. You're built for greatness, even if the road to it is paved with setbacks. Every time you rise, you're rewriting the story. You're refusing to let failure become your identity. You're separating the moment from the mission, the setback from the standard, and that shift, it changes everything. It doesn't mean you won't fall again, you might. But you'll know now, deep down, that you can get back up, that you've done it before, and that you'll do it again. Because rising isn't just about moving forward. It's about reminding yourself who you are and what you're made of. There comes a time when you realize that everything you've been through, the wins, the losses, the heartbreak, the uncertainty, was never random. That every moment, even the ones that nearly broke you, were preparing you for something greater. There's a calling on your life, a reason you're here, a purpose only you can fulfill. And the truth is, until you recognize that, until you lock into it, you'll always feel like something's missing. You'll chase things that don't satisfy. You'll climb ladders that don't lead anywhere. Because success without purpose is just noise. It might look good, it might impress people, but inside you still feel empty. Because deep down, you know you were made for more. Purpose isn't something you wait around for. It's something you choose to walk in. You don't have to have every detail figured out. You don't need a perfect map. What you need is alignment. You need to make decisions that reflect your values, your convictions, your truth. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't honor your purpose, you drift. It may not feel like much in the moment, but over time, those small compromises take you far from the path you were meant to walk. That's why clarity matters. You have to know what you stand for, or you'll fall for anything that looks shiny on the surface. This world will try to pull you in 1,000 directions. It will distract you with opinions, comparisons, expectations. People will project their fears onto you. They'll tell you to play it safe, to tone it down, to follow the crowd. But purpose doesn't live in the crowd. It lives in conviction. In that still, inner voice that says, you were made for this. It's not always loud. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it shows up in pain. But it's always there calling you forward. And it's your job to listen, to honor that voice, even when nobody else understands it. Walking in purpose means turning down things that look good but aren't good for you. It means having the courage to disappoint others so you don't disappoint yourself. It means letting go of what's comfortable to step into what's necessary. That doesn't mean the road will be smooth. In fact, the path of purpose is often steep, lonely, uncertain. But it's real, and what's real will always outlast what's easy. When you live on purpose, you wake up with a reason. You move with intention. You stop chasing applause and start chasing alignment. You stop needing validation because you've already been confirmed by something deeper. And purpose doesn't always show up in big, dramatic moments. Sometimes it looks like consistency, like showing up even when you're tired, like doing the right thing when no one is watching, like being kind in a world that's cold, like speaking truth when it would be easier to stay silent. Purpose shows up in how you love, how you lead, how you endure. It's woven into your habits, your attitude, your impact. It's not always glamorous, but it's always powerful, because when you live with purpose, everything you do carries weight. It means something, and people can feel that. They may not know why, but they can sense that your presence matters. that you're not just existing, you're living for something. You don't have to be famous to be impactful. You don't need millions of followers to make a difference. You just need to be true, to show up with intention, to say, this is who I am and this is what I'm here to do. And even if your steps feel small, when they're guided by purpose, they're building something eternal, something that lasts long after the moment fades. Because purpose is legacy. It's the mark you leave not just on a career or a stage, but on people's hearts, on the world around you, on the generations coming after you.